The law of attraction.
The law of attraction.
Law of attraction is the law, like gravity is the law, that encourages the momentum in the direction that you've set it off.
Your thoughts become things.
You become what you think about, whether you want it or not.
Whatever you think, you can become. As a matter of fact, that's the one point all the great leaders have agreed on, that we do become what we think about.
You are a magnet. Whatever you are, that's what you draw to you.
So learning to create our minds the way we want is the basis of creating the world the way we want.
The law of attraction is active all the time. And the law of attraction is responding to your desire.
Do you know that the law of attraction is always working?
If you can see it and believe it, it is a lot easier to achieve it.
If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. That's the law of attraction. That's what you bring to you.
Visualize things coming to me that I want.
You attract, not just what you feel, you attract what you feel, what you are, what's on your mind.
Every thought that I think, every thought that I have that moves into action is going to create an opposite and equal reaction.
Execution is everything, but it doesn't happen if you don't get the psychology set of a state of total certainty.
Make plans like an adult and believe in them like a child.
What's not easy to do is when things are going bad and you're visualizing the good stuff.
How do you teach people to believe in a future that they can't see or experience with their senses yet?
I feel very strongly that we are who we choose to be. Make a choice. Decide.
Life is a co-creation. It's not a one-way street where you just sit in a lazy boy chair and tell the universe, here's what I want, and here's all of my list of demands.
So the law of attraction is what you think about, you bring about. What you think about, you bring about.
Condition yourself where you see it and feel it so often that you're certain that you just do it.
You can create the life you desire by concentrating on what you wish to attract. Principles of the universe. Thoughts become things. We are divine creators. We are literally the eyes and the ears of God, and whatever anybody wants, they can have, if they know how to press the right buttons and pull the right levers.
All of a sudden, the thought in your mind becomes the experience, and you start feeling the energy of the future.
Like attracts like.
Your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what you imagine and what's real. If you can visualize yourself doing something, you've got the talent inside to do it.
Whatever you focus on invariably shows up in your life, be it what you want or what you don't want.
The law of attraction is active all the time. And the law of attraction is responding to your desire. You create your own reality because you choose it.
You know, folks, I'll admit it, my life is going really, really well. Many of my dreams have come true, and there are plenty of you who've got huge aspirations for success too. I get emails and tweets all the time from people, so many people asking how I did it. I try to share the principles of success whenever I can, because I have not gotten this far without learning the principles of success. And over the years, I've just realized that common sense just ain't that common. So I often get inspiration from books, and one book that resonates with me all the time is this book right here. It's called The Secret. It is the most powerful book outside of the Bible that I have ever read in my life. And the book is based on the law of attraction and how that principle, once you master it, can help you find wealth, happiness, better health, whatever you're looking for, relationships. So let me share some of the concepts that have helped keep me on my game. So the first one is like attracts like. You have to understand, you are a magnet. Whatever you are, that's what you draw to you. If you're negative, you're going to draw negativity. You're positive, you draw positive. You're a kind person, more people are kind to you. So you're like a magnet, you know, and you got to understand something about like attracts like. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. This is so true. You've got to grab this. You got to create dream boards. You got to put the new car up on your mirror. Put the weight you want to be on the refrigerator. If you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. That's the law of attraction. That's what you bring to you. The next principle, ask, believe, receive. So many people overlook this very simple quality. You don't have to figure it out. That's what freezes people. When you're trying to figure out your life all the way to the end, when you can't figure it out, it freezes you from trying it, because you go, oh, well, I can't figure that out. Oh, I can't go over there because I don't know how. You don't have to know how. You have to ask, believe, and receive. That's as simple as it gets, folks. It's very, very true. I really want you to understand that. Now, science says, show me and I'll believe. Faith says, believe and I'll show you. There is a difference. Next, very important. Gratitude is a powerful process. The only way to move to the next level is you must show gratitude for where you are. If you show gratitude, it gets you to where you want to be quicker. Very true. This is the last one. Laughter attracts joy, and it releases negativity, and it leads to some miraculous cures. Laughter is so big, man. When you're laughing, it just brings a lot of joy into your life. It attracts joy, it releases negativity. You know, at my mom's funeral, I learned something that was the most important lesson I've ever learned. I was sitting there, I was totally distraught. My mama was gone. You couldn't talk to me that week. It was the worst week of my life. The minister said something. He told us to think of only the good things that she's done. So me and my brothers were sitting there, and we started laughing about some of the stuff my mom had done. And we started smiling. And then the minister said something that has registered with me. Joy and depression cannot reside in the same space. Laugh every chance you get. Just bust out laughing, even if it ain't funny. Just laugh.
In life, everybody around you is a teacher for you. If you're in a bad relationship right now, you are a student of how to have a better relationship. If you're in a bad situation with your boss, that is a teaching situation for you to learn how to get yourself a better boss. I was not a person who did visualization or thought about my belief system in such a practical way. If you can see it and believe it, it is a lot easier to achieve it. So many times, people who do that process live in the space of wanting and resisting it instead of writing it, visualizing it, seeing it for yourself, and then letting it go. Letting it go, but moving in the direction of working toward it. So nothing happens at first. It's over the process of the time and the effort and the energy that you put into a thing that the energy comes out. In this world, there are a lot of things that are beyond our control. But what you do have control over is how you react to whatever happens in your life. What I now know is that we all become exactly what you believe. So if you believe that you can do all things because you have been endowed by a power from on high, given to you by the grace of God, if you believe that, you walk into the world understanding that whatever problems you may encounter, you still have God to lean on. My confidence comes from knowing that there is something greater than myself, that I am a part of and is also a part of me. I call that God, but I do nothing without that understanding. And the truth is, for me and for every person, every single thing that has ever happened in your life is preparing you for the moment that is to come. Anybody pretending to be anything other than who you really are, you will never, ever reach your personal potential. You cannot do it. I have known for a very long time that I am a blessed person, and that to whom much is given, much is also required. That you can't have all of this and not use it for something that is for the greater good. Your intention rules your life and determines the outcome. Every time it would happen, I would say to my team, well, doesn't matter, because every season somebody else was coming out. 1 talk show, 2 talk shows, 3 talk shows. There have been over 100 talk shows since we started. But every time I would feel like, all right, got to step up our game, got to step up our game. The way you step up your game is not to worry about the other guy in any situation, because you can't control the other guy. You cannot control the other guy. You only have control over yourself. What I know is you got to take responsibility for the space you hold here. And understand that the third law of motion, which says for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, that is my religion. That is the fundamental construct of my religion. And by that, I mean, I know that every thought that I think, every thought that I have that moves into action is going to create an opposite and equal reaction. So everything that I put out into the world is going to come back. It's the golden rule on steroids. The golden rule on steroids. It's true that as you do unto others, they will do unto you. It's already done. Time. It doesn't matter how much money you have, how much power you have, how high you sit on the Forbes list, how many times you make the most influential list. All of that changes. All of that changes. But what is real, what is lasting, is who you are and what you were meant to bring. What is the gift you were meant to give? And nobody can take that away from you.
How do you teach people to believe in a future that they can't see or experience with their senses yet, but they've thought about enough times in their mind that their brain is literally changed to look like the event has already occurred? The latest research in neuroscience says that's absolutely possible. We know that. And how do you teach a person to select a new possibility in their future and begin to emotionally embrace that future before it's made manifest to such a degree that their body, as their unconscious mind, is believing it's living in that future reality in the present moment, and they're signaling new genes in new ways ahead of the environment. Now, till their body begins to change to look like the event has already occurred. We've proven that that's possible. Now think about this. So your body is believing it's living in that future reality in the present moment. The stronger the emotion you feel from some condition in your life, the more altered you feel inside of you, the more you narrow your focus on the cause, and the brain freezes an image and takes a snapshot. And that memory now is embossed in the brain. It's branded in there. So then people think neurologically within the circuits of those past experiences, and they feel chemically within the boundaries of those emotions. And the stronger the betrayal, the stronger the trauma, the more the body's living in the past, right? So how do you reverse that? So now, if you truly got passionate about a future, we've all done this. You get a wild idea in your mind and you start holding on to that vision and you're preoccupied with it. All of a sudden, the thought in your mind becomes the experience, and you start feeling the energy of the future. Now, the stronger the emotion you feel from that vision, the more you're going to pay attention to the picture in your mind, and now you're remembering your future.
And vice versa, the stronger you pay attention to the feeling of the past pain, you're going to create the pain in this moment.
Exactly. So it requires a coherent brain, and we now know that there's a formula for that, and we've got beautiful research to show that people can do it. They just have to practice. And it requires a coherent heart, because resentment, frustration, impatience creates a very incoherent heart.
Yeah.
And when that heart becomes incoherent, you stop trusting yourself. There's no energy there. You stop trusting in your future.
Wow.
So then, if there's physical evidence in your brain and body, physical evidence to look like the event has already occurred, it's quite possible you'll be thinking neurologically within the circuits of your future, and you'll begin to feel chemically within the boundaries of that emotion of your future. And how you think and how you feel is your state of being. And now your state of being is living in the future instead of the past. Now, the moment you disconnect from the emotion of your future because of traffic or some coworker or your ex or whatever people come up with, now you're back to the energy of your past. And now you're going to start looking for it, analyzing, why hasn't it happened? Well, if you're feeling the emotion of your future, why would you look for it? because you would feel like it already happened, and that is the place where the magic happens. So then you can't just do this, get up, and then return back to your old state of being. We all take blows in our lives, and we all react emotionally. But the question is, how long are you going to react?
Right.
So then, if you can't mediate and regulate your emotional reactions, and those emotions linger for days, that's
years for some people.
Mood, and then months, temperament, years, personality trait. So then the person's personality is literally based on the past. But they don't know that because they're doing it over and over again, and it becomes a subconscious program. So now, if it requires a coherent brain and a coherent heart, then we have to train people how to self-regulate. So we've done thousands and thousands of measurements. We partner with the Heart Math Institute to teach people how to create and sustain heart coherence. It just requires getting still, closing your eyes, putting your attention on your heart, changing your breath so that you move into the present moment. And when you slow your breathing down, you slow your brainwaves down. When you slow your brainwaves down, now you're accessing your autonomic nervous system. So then you train a person how to open their heart and feel an elevated emotion. And it takes a little practice. And just like a flower that takes time to bloom, it takes a little bit of time. But if you work on trading the resentment, the frustration, or the impatience for gratitude, appreciation, and thankfulness, and you keep at it, there'll come a moment where that system switches on, and now you're feeling grateful for no reason at all. Now, that's not a bad thing, because gratitude, the emotional signature of gratitude, means something's happening to you, something has happened to you, you're receiving something, or you just received something. So your body then, when you're feeling gratitude, is in the perfect state of receiving. So then that means then you'll accept, believe, and surrender to the thoughts equal to the emotional state of gratitude. If you're living in resentment, you're living in fear, you're living in impatience, you could say, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm wealthy, I'm with all you want, and that thought's going to stop right at the brainstem and never make its way to the body. Because you're feeling resentment, and that thought that thought is not consistent with the emotion of resentment. Resentment has a different set of thoughts, right? In other words, once you start opening your heart, it begins to move into coherence. It begins to produce a measurable magnetic field up to 3 meters wide. Now that's frequency, that's energy. And all that energy, that frequency, carries information, carries an intent. So then when you're feeling gratitude and your heart is open, you're broadcasting energy into the field. Now,
frequency.
A frequency. You lay the intent of the thought of your health or your wealth. That frequency can carry the thought of your wealth. It can carry the thought of your health. If you're suffering, suffering does not carry, that energy does not carry the thought of your wealth. It carries a different set of thoughts. So then we're teaching people how to self-regulate, because if you're going to believe in that future that you're imagining with all of your heart, it better be open and activated. And you better know how to self-regulate. And you have to know the moment you disconnect from the energy of your future because of some circumstance in your life and you lose that feeling, if you're practicing it on a daily basis with your eyes closed, then the next level is to be able to open your eyes and do it right in the moment and be able to self-regulate and change the frustration from some experience in your life back to the energy of your future. Now, that requires great awareness and great effort. But if you have a community of people that are practicing this on a daily basis and they're connected to their future, because that's where their mind is, they begin to want the future more than the emotions of the past. So we've done enough measurements now to know that we can teach people how to do that, and we have evidence that people can sustain it for 45 minutes to an hour. It's a skill now. They know that they know how to do it. So now they have brain coherence and heart coherence. Well, once the heart begins to become orderly and coherent, it acts as an amplifier and it drives energy to the brain. So now the brain is getting more energy once the heart is open, and then you're thinking a different set of thoughts. Imagine this field of information, this intelligence that lives within you and I that's governing everything material in this world. It's a self-organizing intelligence. You have access to it, so you better get present with it as well as you can get present with anything else. And just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I'm starting to realize how conditioned we are into believing how limited we are. And as you start peeling those layers away and you break through those beliefs, those self-limiting thoughts and emotions, on the other side of that is where the miraculous happens. So you got to be willing to be in that place of discomfort long enough to reorganize order and begin to create more coherence. And then all of a sudden, you get this recalibration that goes on in the brain and body. And then the extent of that is that the ultimate thing is you start to see feedback in your life, those synchronicities, those coincidences, those opportunities. You're scratching your head going,
everything's falling into place.
Yeah, I'm in the right place at the right time.
Everything I think about just comes to me.
Because your energy is synchronized. Look, I mean, when you have coherence in the brain and heart, you have a laser of energy, and it could read information much better. You're living in stress, and your brain is shifting its attention from one person to another problem, to another thing, to another place to go. Each one of those things, there's an assignment of neurological networks in the brain. So the arousal of the stress hormones drives the brain into this high frequency, and you're trying to control and predict everything in your life, and your brain circuits are firing like a lightning storm in the clouds. When your brain's incoherent, you're incoherent, and you don't have a signal. You don't have a Wi-Fi signal. You're not connected to the field. How could you connect to energy and information if your signal hasn't become orderly? So that when people synchronize their energy with the coherence, they can synchronize to a possibility in the future, and the synchronicities that are feedback from the environment are just a reflection of your energy, and that's the universe saying, follow the breadcrumbs. Do it again. Follow it again. Do it again. And now all of a sudden the person's not waking up in the morning like, oh, I'm going to meditate now and create my future. They're kind of going like, I'm getting out of bed because I don't want the magic to end, right? They want to sustain that state so that the old reality that they've lived in begins to transform into something new, and because there's no longer a vibrational match with everyone and everything in their past, present reality, there's a vibrational match to their future, and now their future is starting to give them signals.
Attract what you fear. You attract, not just what you fear, you attract what you feel, what you are, what you attract. What's on your mind,
It's like the law of physics. I don't know how anybody can disagree with that. It's ask any physicist, they'll tell you that it's true.
David Mamet wrote a line in the play Edmund, every fear hides a wish, which I think is close.
Principles of the universe. Thoughts become things. We are divine creators. We are literally the eyes and the ears of God, and whatever anybody wants, they can have, if they know how to press the right buttons and pull the right levers, which is an overstatement. It's much simpler than that. Thoughts become things. Just don't mess with the cursed house. Don't attach to unimportant details, and don't insist on specific people behaving in specific ways. These absolute truths, these unwavering, non-negotiable truths, which are so benign and so simple, but you've got to know what they are. Otherwise, you trip over yourself. You start doing the universe's job, worrying about the hows or the logistics, which your brain was never meant to deal with, and you get psyched out, overwhelmed, and think it's complicated when in fact it's so easy. Our job is simply to define what we want in terms of the end result, as if it was already done, not worry about the how. We ought to define what we want in terms of the end result, keeping it general, which at first glance seems to contradict what so many others teach. I do teach about getting into the details. They're awesome, they're glorious, they're sexy. They get us excited about the vagueness of the generality that I said ought to be our end result. But by keeping general, we leave room for the magic. We untie the hands of an infinitely creative universe that always knows the shortest, quickest way. The universe knows. Divine intelligence that puts the stars in the sky knows who your best travel partner will be, your soulmate, your business partner, what your bliss will be, what will set your soul on fire. It knows, whereas generally we don't know. So as long as we give it marching orders by telling it what our general priorities are, career, work that I don't even call work, a new best friend, improved health. If you give it general marching orders like that, it knows how to fix it, twist it, change it, step it up, make it happen really fast. If you keep it general, which is simply saying leave room for surprises. If you insist on this path, or on that bell and whistle, or on this person falling in love with you, you've eliminated an infinite number of even better possibilities. So you asked, should we keep it really specific or that precise? Be precise in the definition of where your priorities for change are, but keep it general. I want more money. I want more fun. I want more laughter. I want improved health. Then, step 2 of my playing the matrix is get excited about the changes you're going to be experiencing by visualizing the details. Just don't attach to the details. Leave room for surprises. Visualize, a certain person or a certain car being in your life, but leave room for surprises. Don't insist. They have their own agenda. They have their own ideas of what's the ideal partner. So give that to divine intelligence. And then step 3, the final step of playing my matrix, deliberate living, is showing up. Just as simple as that. Like your life is such a perfect example of, you just go there, you just stick your nose in every opportunity, you knock on every door, you turn over every stone for the magic that you've commissioned with your general end results, for the passion that you've generated for being excited about the details without attachment. That's easy. And for those 2 steps, the magic is swirling around you. All that needs to be done at that point is showing up, doing the humble little baby steps that always seem insufficient compared to what you dream of. The champagne and caviar, but you're going to a job you hate at the mall. Go anyway. Just not for the intention of staying there forever, but because by going to the mall, going to the job, doing something, anything is better than nothing, you're now reachable. You're a lightning rod to miracles. And then you're going to continue to knock on doors, so you're going to go to that job you hate, but you're going to check out the want ads, the Craigslist, the internet, and prepare to be astounded. Once you spark it by showing up, you do gain that momentum. And one of my favorite Seth quotes, Seth was dictated by the late Jane Roberts, was something to the effect of, the upward spiral takes off with a momentum all of its own. And as my life can attest, and so many others, yours as well, all of a sudden, the phone is ringing off the hook. All of a sudden, you need somebody to help you balance and choose from the great opportunities that are coming your way. Whereas before, it was like total famine, and you were just kind of showing up, knocking on doors. Nobody wanted to see your face or hear your words. The next thing you know, you get an email from Rhonda Byrne says, would you be in The Secret? The defining moment is always crossed invisibly, and you don't know when you crossed it. The person listening or watching right now may have crossed it yesterday, literally, but they use their physical senses to interpret the journey in themselves. This is the forbidden fruit, the original sin, using your physical senses to interpret life. And they draw the conclusion like, it's not working. It works for everyone but me. I must be self-sabotaging myself. Those declarations undo what was working. So to get to that tipping point, you never draw conclusions based on what your physical senses are showing you. Just because you can't see the miracles doesn't mean they're not happening. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is you keep showing up because it is working. And every single day you are getting closer. It is getting easier. Whether you see that or not is irrelevant. You live in a magical world, a dream world, where all things are possible. Here we are on the Disney property right now, where dreams come true, they say. The truth is, this whole planet is an oasis in the solar system where dreams come true, thoughts become things. It is the law. Doesn't matter where you've been, where you are today. If it's not pretty, that's okay, because it's not who you are. You're infinitely more. The world is your oyster. You're inclined to succeed, pushed on to greatness every day once you wake up and you learn these simple basic truths, these pillars that I teach. That is probably the ultimate golden key. Love yourself. But some, like at times in my life, hearing that, it's just like, could you ask me to do anything else but that, please? It's like, love myself when I'm not happy with my weight, or I'm not happy because I'm broke, I've got credit card debt, I have no idea how I got here or how to remove myself from it. So the ultimate advice of loving yourself is hard for those folks. It's been hard for me at times in my life. In which case, I would say, don't set the bar that high. Just understand the truth. your thoughts become things. You don't have to know how you got where you are to know how to move forward. The way you're going to move forward is define what you want in terms of the end, the new life. Your job is not to figure out how you're going to get there. Your job is to define it. This is why vision boards and scrapbooks are so powerful. Once you've defined it, visualize it, get excited about it, happy dance in the dark, alone, once a day, take the weekends off like I do, and then every day show up, do stuff. And this is when, because you're showing up consistently, little tweaks, little miracles happen that you can't see with the naked eye. It's like, you know, the new person, the new best friend, they're being drawn closer to you, but you don't see that. Doesn't mean it's not happening. And eventually, as you continue showing up, this is one of my biggest lessons beyond understanding the truth, is just constantly showing up, because then you're no longer waiting for that pot to boil. It's like you got somewhere to go, something to do, and it distracts you, while the universe can then slip in between the lines and transform your life incrementally, invisibly, day by day. But you get to a point where all of a sudden you look back over your shoulder and you're like, how did I get here? But until that day comes, it seems like you're at the opposite end of the spectrum. Nothing's happening for you, nothing to be excited about. Must be something wrong with you. Can't move forward until you figure out what it is. Lies. You don't have to figure anything out except how life works. Thoughts become things. Let your end results be general. Get excited about them with the details and show up. It's like, that's all anybody has to know. And then you have to live it. You have to show up. Show up even if it looks like it did yesterday. Show up even if this month looks like it did last month. Keep showing up. This is any big success story, any success story at all. They kept showing up.
I still am very insecure in so many ways, but I wish I could give that gift to all my fans. You have the freedom to pull the superstar out of yourself that you were born to be. We are all born superstars.
When things are going good and you visualize these good things happening, you visualize more good things happening, that's easy. What's not easy to do is when things are going bad and you're visualizing the good stuff.
Champion Conor McGregor. Conor, you've been dreaming about this moment, you've been talking about this moment. Honestly though, does it feel the way you thought it would?
Yeah, it does. It feels beautiful. I dreamt this so much, so clearly, so precisely, and so frequently that it has manifested itself into reality. And that's what I'm feeling right now. It's a dream come true.
You want something, go get it. Period.
I think there's a lot of misconceptions about what the law of attraction is. I think a lot of people have a superficial understanding of the law of attraction. And so, for example, many people think, well, all I have to do is sit, meditate, visualize, feel, and then the doorbell will ring and the love of my life will be there, or the doorbell will ring and there will be my car or my new job or something like that. And I definitely believe that's possible. I definitely believe in magic and miracles. And I like it when the doorbell rings and there's a surprise there. But what people misunderstand is that life is a co-creation. You have something to do. It's not a one-way street where you just sit in a lazy boy chair and tell the universe, here's what I want. And here's all of my list of demands, so to speak. Or here's my Santa Claus list, so to speak. Trying to start with the list, because I think that's the power of intention. You gain momentum, you go in the direction of what you want, but at some point you have to get out of the lazy boy chair and you have to go out in the world and actually co-create whatever it is that you happen to want. And that comes from following your intuition, taking inspired action, having faith, going with the momentum and the seeds that the universe propels to you. Life is a co-creation, and that when you are given the opportunity to create something, it's your part of the formula to go and do it. But as long as you keep taking action, you can create these miraculous results. I think it's a misconception with people understanding the law of attraction, because they think all I have to do is wish upon a star, click my heels together, and it all happens. That's part of it, but you also have to do some work. Erase the phrase wrong action from your brain. There is no wrong action. There is no wrong action. There's also no failure. We need to redefine and rename those terms, because people become deathly afraid of them and they go into paralysis because they feel like, oh, what if I do it wrong? What if I fail? Well, if you take that out of your consciousness and you just say, what if I move in the right direction? And what if everything that happens is feedback for me or a discovery to me? Then at that point, it's all good. It's all miraculous. It's all momentum. It's all going in the right direction. And this is one of the hangups people have with the law of attraction. They start getting into the mindset that every little thought they have is going to be created. And then the tangent to that is they beat themselves up for it. And it's like, oh my God, we gotta let those things go. We gotta come from the mindset that most of what we do in life is unconscious anyway, driven from unconscious beliefs, not conscious intentions. And so if we do have some things that we end up regretting because we think we shot ourselves in the foot, we gotta love ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves. We have to mend whatever that is and then move forward. But that's one of the other problems people have with the law of attraction, is using it as a kind of self-punishment. Expecting setbacks doesn't mean you're going to create setbacks. What that means is that you're going to be aware that in the world we currently live in, there are things that malfunction. There are things that happen. Something will whisper things in your ear like, write this book, start this magazine, some sort of business. It'll whisper something into your ear and it'll be up to you to say yes and follow those breadcrumbs and those intuition to make it happen.
Thoughts are turning to things. You just want to think the thoughts that turn to the things that you want. And you don't do that all the time. You hardly ever do that. Law of attraction is the law, like gravity is the law, that encourages the momentum in the direction that you've set it off. So it's all about attraction. It's not about assertion. It's all about what you are attracting by virtue of your vibration. But if you get off on a little thought, very small thought, you could change the momentum or the direction of that thought, or slow the momentum of the negative thought if you catch it early enough. But if it gets going and you put words to it, then you're a goner, at least until your lobotomy, until your nap or your meditation, until something quiets your mind. It would take a very strong person in strong alignment with source energy to distract you from that. It can happen, and you have friends like that you become dependent on. Stop it. But if you catch it early, then you can choose. Then you've got control of your point of attraction. You're knowing what you're wanting. Are you enjoying the feeling of your own desire? If you are, that's a good thing. Because if you were enjoying the feeling of your desire, that means you are in the vibrational vicinity of it often. In other words, you don't hold a lot of beliefs that are working against it. When you have desires that you don't believe, or desires that sort of stir up thoughts in you of worry that make you feel worry, then that means you're not a vibrational match to your desire. And the beliefs that you hold, belief is just a thought you continue to think, is working against your desire. And when that happens, your desire doesn't feel good. You wish you didn't have it. You say, I felt better before I wanted that thing I can't have. But when you come to realize that there is nothing that your life experience, this time-space reality, can produce within you in the form of a desire, there is no desire that can happen within you that you cannot discover and experience a full manifestation of. In other words, those vibrations and thoughts can and are turning to the things that you call your life experience. Nothing is off limits for you. Nothing is out of reach for you. But sometimes you slow it way down by habits of thought that don't let it flow. The law of attraction is active all the time. And the law of attraction is responding to your desire. And something really big and important for you to think about is that once you've launched a desire, your inner being, your inner resources, your source energy is focused only upon that desire. And when your inner being focuses upon something, ooh, that's a lot of leverage for you. That's a lot of attraction power for you. That gets the energy moving and the juices flowing and the cooperative components are being gathered. But the question that you want to be aware of, am I you want to think about yourself? Am I one of those cooperative components? Am I allowing myself to be gathered up with all of the other cooperative components? Because sometimes you don't allow yourself to be gathered up. You are a sort of holdout because you've got beliefs. After all, it would be logical. You've got more invested, like your whole life. You care the most, like the most of everybody else put together. You care the most. So it's logical that you might think thoughts about it not coming, or about it not happening, or about you not being able to do it. It's logical that you might have practiced some thoughts and that you might still be thinking them. But when you think those thoughts, you feel the emotional guidance system within you giving you that vibrational sensory feedback. That's what emotions are. Feedback. Vibrational feedback. So when you think about something you want, and you think about why you want it, and you anticipate experiencing it fully, and that wonderful feeling comes over you, that feeling of anticipation and eagerness, that means you are vibrationally the same as your desire, which means the pathway, the path of least resistance, or the path of most allowance, the pathway that your inner being has carved open for you. You haven't clogged up the end of the tunnel. A pathway. Think of your inner being as out there clearing the brush and paving the highways and opening the roadways and organizing the details and lining everything up for your joyful discovery. When you're really decided, you don't think opposing thoughts. When you're decided, you don't contradict your thought by asking, well, then where is it? Or what's taking so long? Those are not decisive thoughts. Those are contrary thoughts. Those are thoughts of opposition, you see. And so once you get the hang of it, and once you really appreciate your emotions, because your emotions are just letting you know, moment by moment, whether you are allowing or not allowing, whether you are in the flow of or not in the flow of, whether you are helping or hindering your own desires. You create your own reality because you choose it. Your life helps you do that. So as you choose your own reality, and your inner being hears what you mean and focuses only upon what you want, never on its opposite. So all of the forces, all of the energies, the energy that creates worlds starts working for you, paving that trail, clearing that brush, opening that passageway, that path of least resistance. You got to ask yourself, where am I on this path? Am I on it? Do I believe it? Do I want it and believe it? Am I helping? Am I hindering? And if you want to know the answer in the moment, which is the only thing that matters is in this moment, because this moment's the only moment that you can open or close the passageway. In this moment, am I helping or hindering? Which means, in this moment, how do I feel? Do I feel eager? It's open. Do I feel pensive? It's clogged up. Do I feel happy? It's open. Do I feel mean? It's closed. Do I feel glad? It's open. Do I feel mad at you? It's closed. Even if you aren't anything about this, just being mad causes me to close up my passageway. It's easy, isn't it? If you are feeling satisfied, you have control over what happens next. And if you feel satisfied and you're able to maintain that satisfaction which is completely absent of any resistance, by the momentum of law of attraction will become more. So satisfaction will turn into eagerness and passion in a relatively short period of time, and you will see results right away of anything that you care about. But if it's unsatisfied and you don't realize it and return to satisfaction when it's possible, and so you lean to dissatisfaction and then you vent it out loud to yourself or to someone else. Now, car's pretty much rolling down that hill, and it's probably going to play itself out. You can get so good at this that you can come to the place where you can cease the negative emotion and begin the positive emotion at will once you master it. But why test yourself? Why not catch it earlier? Yes, the pathway has already been carved out for you, but sometimes you can't quite find that path.